What if two fields, I mean, fields that seem totally worlds apart, right? Biology on one hand, cutting-edge AI on the other. What if they actually share the same, like, mathematical heart?
That's a fascinating starting point.
Yeah, so today we're doing a deep dive into this recent preprint, and it suggests something pretty wild, that these machine learning diffusion models, the engine behind things like Stable Diffusion, Sora.
The generative AI everyone's talking about.
Exactly, that these are fundamentally evolutionary algorithms.
And our mission here really is to explore how this paper unpacks that, how it shows evolution itself can be seen as a kind of denoising process.
Denoising.
And it's not just some clever analogy. It's a deep insight that's already sparked a whole new algorithm, a really powerful one.
Okay, so we'll be looking at the sources, the papers, laying this all out, exploring what it means for, how we tackle complex problems. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with the basics. Maybe a quick refresher on evolutionary algorithms, EAs. So these are computational methods, right? Directly inspired by biology. Evolution. They use principles like selection, mutation.
Survival of the fittest, essentially, but for code or solutions.
Exactly. To refine solutions over generations. You start with a population of possibilities. The fittest ones survive, reproduce, tweak their genes, pass them on.
Right.
And they're pretty good for what people call rugged search spaces. Like, imagine trying to find the highest peak in a mountain range, but you can only see your immediate surroundings.
Yeah, lots of local peaks and valleys.
EAs help explore those without getting stuck in a dip thinking it's the best spot. But a common issue, traditionally anyway, is they often struggle finding diverse solutions. They tend to zero in on one answer.
Converge on a single optimum, yeah, even if others exist.
Right, so that's EAs. Now, the other side of this coin, diffusion models.
Okay, so these are a type of generative AI. They create data, could be images, video, text, you name it, by iteratively transforming pure noise.
Like TV static.
Pretty much. Transforming that noise into structured, meaningful data. It really is a denoising process, step by step, taking that static and gradually revealing a clear picture.
Okay.
And their power really comes from this iterative refinement. They learn how to undo the noise process.
It's interesting, even just laying them out like that, you start seeing, well, parallels, right?
Definitely. On the surface, at least.
Both use this iterative refinement, a kind of back and forth between guided updates and randomness. In evolution, you've got natural selection guiding things towards fitness, and then random mutations throwing in variation.
The guided part and the random part.
And in diffusion models, you have the learned denoising steps pushing towards the goal distribution, and then you've got noise being added, that random element.
Exactly. That parallel is there. But what's really groundbreaking about this paper is that it goes deeper. It's not just an analogy.
Okay.
The paper mathematically shows a much deeper equivalence.
An equivalence. Wow.
Yeah. The core insight is that you can view evolution as this transformation of distributions of genotypes, phenotypes. Over time, mutation and selection change the shape of these distributions.
It's population change.
And diffusion models. They also transform distributions. They take simple ones like Gaussian noise, just a bell curve of randomness, and transform them into really complex ones like the distribution of all possible realistic cat images, for example.
So the process of changing distributions is the key link.
That's a big part of it. And specifically, this idea of evolution as denoising. Think about it this way.
Right.
Imagine you have an evolved population, lots of high fitness solutions. Think of them as red points, like in the paper's diagrams, dense areas in the parameter space where good solutions live.
Okay, the successful results.
Right.
Okay.
Now, runtime backwards, what happens? That highly structured, high fitness population would gradually devolve. Step by step, it loses structure, spreading out.
Back towards randomness.
Exactly. Back into maybe an initial random unstructured distribution like Gaussian noise, this reverse evolution. That's precisely what the forward process in diffusion models does.
So adding noise to data is like reversing evolution.
It mirrors it mathematically. And conversely, the denoising process in a diffusion model, where it takes noisy data and refines it into something meaningful, that can be seen as directed selection. Each little denoising step, it's like a small, purposeful nudge, a mutation, if you will, steering the noisy sample towards a fitter, more coherent outcome.
Guiding it towards those red points.
Precisely. Refining that initially messy parameter space, concentrating it towards the high fitness regions. It's a really elegant symmetry when you see it laid out mathematically.
Okay, wow. That's quite a connection.
Yeah.
So this isn't just theory then. What does it mean practically? You mentioned a new algorithm, diffusion evolution.
Exactly. This mathematical link isn't just for academic interest. It led directly to this novel approach, diffusion evolution. It basically takes the diffusion model framework and applies it directly to evolutionary optimization.
Okay. How does it work? What's different?
Well, crucially, it inverts the diffusion process, but it uses a Bayesian method. It's a statistical technique for figuring out the most probable underlying patterns in noisy data.
Bayesian, right.
And importantly, it does this inversion, this core optimization process, without needing neural networks.
Ah, okay. And why is ditching the neural network important here?
Well, for a couple reasons. One, it can make the algorithm more interpretable, less of a black box than some deep learning approaches.
Right, you can maybe see the steps better.
Potentially, yes. And it can also cut down on the computational overhead. Training big neural networks takes time and resources. This approach, it might be more efficient for certain problems.
Makes sense.
And because it's built on this diffusion framework, it inherently includes processes that mirror biological evolution. Things like mutation, sure, but also hybridization mixing solutions and even reproductive isolation.
Reproductive isolation,
Like-
like species diverging.
Kind of, where subsets of solutions can sort of branch off and explore different parts of the problem space independently. This is key. It allows diffusion evolution to find multiple optimal solutions.
Ah, unlike the traditional EAs that often just find one peak.
Exactly. It mirrors the diversity you see in nature, finding different ways to be fit, rather than just funneling everything towards a single answer.
And you said the examples back this up, comparing it to older methods.
Yeah, the results are pretty striking. They tested it against established methods. CMA-ES is a big one, OpenES, PIPA-G.
Standard benchmarks.
Right. And on fitness landscapes known to be tricky, like Himmelblau, Ackley, Rastrogen, these are functions designed with multiple peaks or complex shapes. Diffusion evolution consistently found diverse, high-fitness solutions across the board. It maintained what they call high genetic diversity. The other methods often converged on just one solution or got sort of confused by the multiple peaks.
So it didn't just find an answer, it found the answers. Plural.
That's the idea. The paper shows high entropy values for diffusion evolution, which basically means its best solutions were much more spread out, more diverse compared to the other algorithms. It's finding different successful strategies.
Okay, so this bridge, this mathematical connection, it's not just an explanation, it actually lets us improve things.
Absolutely. It empowers us. We can actually borrow concepts, tools, techniques from the diffusion model world and use them to supercharge evolutionary algorithms.
Okay, like what? Give me an example.
A big one is accelerated sampling. Think about evolutionary algorithms. Often the bottleneck, the slowest part, is testing how fit each potential solution is.
The evaluation step.
Right. It can take ages.
Yeah.
But diffusion evolution borrows tricks from diffusion models, specifically something called cosine scheduling for noise.
Cosine scheduling. Okay, what's that do?
It's a clever way to manage the noise level during the process. You gradually reduce the noise according to a cosine curve instead of, say, linearly. It turns out this specific schedule, borrowed from diffusion model research, allows diffusion evolution to drastically cut down the number of iterations needed. Fewer generations, fewer fitness evaluations.
Without losing the quality or the diversity.
Exactly. You get the speed up while maintaining the good solutions and finding multiple ones. It's a huge efficiency game.
That is remarkable. Okay, what else can we borrow?
Well, building on that, there's latent space diffusion evolution. This is really critical when you start tackling very high-dimensional problems.
Like training neural networks. Those have tons of parameters.
Precisely. Thousands, millions sometimes. In those huge spaces, the sheer distance between parameters can make standard evolution really slow. It gets stuck exploring locally.
Too much space to cover.
Right. And another issue is sloppiness. Many of those dimensions, many parameters, might not actually affect the final performance or fitness much at all.
Like extra knobs that don't do anything useful.
Exactly. So latent space diffusion evolution tackles this. It maps the high-dimensional parameters, all those network weights, down into a much smaller, lower-dimensional latent space.
A compressed representation.
Sort of. A space that captures the important variations. Then the diffusion process happens in this simpler latent space.
So you're evolving in the compact space, not the huge original one.
Correct. It simplifies the search dramatically without losing the essential structure.
And they had an example for this too, right? The cart pole thing.
Yes, the classic cart-pole balancing act, a standard reinforcement learning benchmark.
Balancing the pole in the cart, yeah.
So the original diffusion evolution, without the latent space trick, actually struggled a bit on this task. Performance wasn't great, diversity was low, but then they applied latent space diffusion evolution. And boom, significant improvement in performance, diversity came back strong, and this was for networks with over 17,000 parameters.
Wow, 17,000. That's not trivial.
Not at all. And get this, the efficiency gain was massive. They solved the cart pull task in just 10 generations, using 512 individuals in the population, and needed only one fitness evaluation per individual.
Literally one evaluation each. That's incredibly fast for an EA approach.
It's a huge leap. Shows the power of combining these ideas.
So wrapping this up then, this deep dive really shows this profound connection. A mathematical duality, you could almost say.
I think that's fair.
Diffusion models are evolutionary algorithms. Evolution acts like a denoising process. It's
Yeah,
a remarkable bridge between biology and AI.
and thinking bigger picture, this convergence isn't just neat, it's useful. Insights from one field can genuinely help the other.
Does it?
Well, we could apply more advanced diffusion concepts, maybe non-Gaussian diffusion, to understand biological evolution better. Or flip it, use evolutionary insights to design new kinds of diffusion models. The cross-pollination potential is huge.
It really opens up possibilities.
It does.
Which leaves us with a pretty big question for you, the listener, to think about. If nature's own algorithms for adaptation are being mirrored in our most advanced AI, and that AI, in turn, can help us decode nature's processes, what does that suggest about learning, about adaptation, maybe even about design in the universe?
It definitely gives you something to ponder, the fundamental nature of how complexity arises and optimizes itself.
So to keep exploring, for sure.